Okay, let's keep taking a look. So I am doing a whole couple videos on creating a texture library. So I come to my next image and I'm going to look at these, and sometimes as we look we might decide to work with an image or not. I'm going to see if I can save this image and really focus in and make it about the texture. Again, I really think the best thing would be to rephotograph this, take it outside. So I'm going to come on in, I'm going to crop this image and see what I get. I think I'm even going to get rid of this white part up in here and really focus in and crop. So in order to crop, I'm going to do a double click and there we have it. Now, I'm not really even so wild about this image, but I'm going to go through the steps regardless. Again, I'm going to work with my levels or my curves. For this one, I'm going to look at my curves. Okay, so when I look at the curves with this image, the levels and the curves are very similar. What they're doing is they're giving you the information of the value. So now it's very interesting when I look at this image because I can see that there are really not any of the light values. So I'm going to come on in, I'm going to readjust this right in here. Now, what else I can do is I can see that I have this real spike right about here in this value. So I'm going to come on in, I'm going to put a curve and I'm going to pull that one down a little bit. Now I could also come on in and create another point and start to work with the distribution of value, even move this around. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about these points too, and I think that this graph probably makes a lot of sense to you. You can get very, very specific working with the curves. So again, I can see that this image is showing me the distribution of value across the channels. So I can see that when I come, again, one more time, right into this value, that this is as much of this value that I have. So what I can do is I can, again, just start putting the points in and start changing this up and seeing what it is that I get. Okay, let's look and see if I turn the eyeball on, before and after. Okay, I do like that. I'll leave this one as this, and I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to name this O2 Texture. Again, so much is organization of your photos. I'm going to name this one, turn into a JPEG, hit Save, okay, and I have my second image. Excellent. I'm going to go on, take a look at my third image and my fourth. All right, so I'm going to actually focus in on this one, and I'm also going to crop this one. I want to get rid of this image here. But what else I'm going to do with this image is I want to kind of twist it a little bit. I want to move it around and place it a little bit differently. All right, so how do I go about doing that? Well, step one, I look at my layers. I need to unlock my bottom layer. So I click the lock to unlock it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come on in, I'm going to come to Image, and I want to move it, okay? So I want to go to Free Transform. So it's actually under Edit, and I can hit Free Transform. Now I get this box, right? So I can come on in and I can start moving it. I can click my arrow, I can move this on over, and if I want to make it a little bit bigger, I can as well. Now, when you're going to make it bigger, make sure you hold down Shift, okay? When you hold down Shift, you keep the relationship between the width and the height, and I'm going to make this bigger. Excellent. Okay. Now, it looks a tiny bit pixelated. That's because I need to place it. In order to place it, I'm going to hit this little arrow up in here. The image now is placed. Okay. Maybe I want to move it a little bit more as well. So in order to move it from here, I'm going to grab my tool panel right here. I'm going to click on to the Move tool, and I'm going to move this on up. Okay, because again, my camera really did, parts of it are blurry, parts of it are clearer. Okay, so I'm going to click onto that. Now, one more time, I want to crop it. Now, whenever you see this on, it doesn't let you do anything, you need to place it. So I'm going to click again this arrow, and I'm going to place it. I'm going to grab my crop tool. I'm going to crop it a little bit and really focus in on this texture. Now, I know that, a lot of the relationship between the width and the height is changing. I'm going to double click and I have my next texture. I'm going to come on in, File, Save As. Oops, before I do that too, I want to work with the levels or the curves. So I'll do the levels, I'll come on in, and again, I'm going to just work a little bit with the distribution of value. Again, I can just change this up a little bit. I don't want to overdo it, but I can see what that really did is the photo when I turn this off, it almost has this gray haze. And when I just work with the levels just a tiny little bit, it really can improve the overall image. Now let's look at hue saturation. Let's see. Don't really think this one's going to matter at all because there's no color. So see when I start saturating it, now you can see that there's actually a lot of blue in there. Okay, there's like this nice blue cast, but it doesn't really matter. That's really not the proper one to do. I'm going to chuck that one because I don't need that one. But I could work with the brightness and the contrast. So let's grab that one and let's see what this one looks like with the brightness and the contrast. So I could say I want to brighten it up a little bit, and I could say I want to add a little bit more contrast. And again, with this project, we don't want to overdo it, but we could say, okay, great, I really do like this one a lot. I'm going to come File, Save As, and I'm going to name, this is my third texture, 03 texture, and I'm going to turn this one into a JPEG and hit Save. All right, thanks so much.